A photograph has always told us some story, something that has happened or is about to happen. Interesting is how we see photography. Some people has made interesting interpretations of photographs, remakes of famous scenes, or sometimes photographs were based on drawings or other pieces of art. 1929, André Kertész took a photograph of Meudon that captures the everyday life in Paris in an extraordinary way. An article with the title "The Poetry of the Street" analyzes Kertész's photograph with the words: "A train coming from the right is crossing a viaduct in the foreground as if accidentally a man in a dark coat wearing a hat is crossing the street, while further behind 9 figures, 2 of them children, are heading off in various directions. Nothing in the picture is unusual in itself, there is no event here, and yet the effect of the vertical black and white photograph is somehow disturbing. Does this feeling originate in a simultaneity of dissimilar things that captures the observer's gaze, surprises them, leaves questions unanswered? Even though it depicts a scene clearly drawn from everyday life in Paris, something surreal clings to the photograph, something reminiscent of the paintings of de Chirico or the inventions of Bautius or René Magritte, or of certain scenes in the films of Luis Buñuel. More than anything else, the photograph resembles a still taken from a film. That article I quoted presents the photograph quite deeply. I also think that the scene captured here is like a still frame depicted from a film. There is something we do not know about that man. We are interested to know what is being wrapped in those newspapers that he brings somewhere, and probably if that scene was a part of a film, we would know what he brings and where he's going with it. The illustration on the right was made a decade earlier on that particular scene that Kertész captured later. In that illustration, the train passes again in the foreground. Meudon, captured by Kertész, remained one of the most memorable photographs of 20th century. Another example of a photographic reference is Behind the Gare Saint-Lazare by Henri Cartier-Bresson, took in 1932, and the Lego setup made on that image somehow possesses the spirit of the original. The original, a man jumping over a puddle in Paris, is an example of capturing a decisive moment of when something is happening, and then you need to be quick enough to seize that moment and to record it. The remake, made 2007 using Lego pieces of that photograph, is really interesting because it recreates exactly that decisive moment that Bresson captured, but in the same time using a modern and contemporary Lego gaming setup. Another example of an interesting remake is on the contemporary photograph Montparnasse by Andreas Gursky, took 1993, and the remake is made by Jean-Pierre Poirier in 2008. Gursky depicts very skillfully those repeating patterns of small windows, but yet distinguished by its different colors of curtains or individual balcony arrangements. That image has the strong feel of depersonalization of space, and we somehow feel that the urban resident leads a hermetic life in the cells that he/she occupies, and that his/her relationship with nature is irreversibly collapsed and mutilated. Curious is the remake of Montparnasse, which makes the French photographer Jean-Pierre Poirier. The photograph was taken on a sunny day, and the predominant is the blue tone, unlike the original, where predominant is the yellow hue. In contrast to the original, there is a lamp in the remake among the trees. The photograph, taken 15 years after the original, reflects a change in the direction of still further decline of what remains of the living nature at the expense of the attributes of the urban exterior. Talking about photographs from the past or contemporary ones, it has been always appealing to seek some form of recreation on them, to try to catch again the original spirit and make some form of reproductions on that theme over and over again. Changing the medium and producing a new piece on a known subject makes those memorable images even more recognized and always remembered.